your cover letter, and your application to your dream job at your dream organization. And a week later, you'll receive a call that you were selected to interview, and you are ecstatic. You know how hard it is to receive an interview in today's competitive world. But then your stomach drops, and you realize you have actually never interviewed before. You have no idea what to say, how to prepare, or where to even begin. Many of us right now are looking for internships this summer, volunteer experiences, or part-time jobs. But in order to have those experiences, you have to nail the interview first. I'm a junior human resources major, and thus far in my life, I have been interviewed 25 different times, and I've actually conducted 15 interviews myself. In class, I learned the best interview skills, as well as what I should be doing on the other side of the table interviewing someone. In my past 2 internships, I learned how to perfect the interview process, as well as what really recruiters want you to say and do during an interview. So today I'm going to inform you guys about the interview process. I'm going to be speaking about what to do to prepare for an interview, what to do during an interview, as well as what to do after an interview by following up. So I'm first going to speak about the preparation process. In my opinion, this is the crucial, most important part of the interview process. As with many things in life, whether you're studying for a test, performing a speech, how well you do depends on how well you prepare. So the first part of the preparation stage begins with your resume. At this point of your life, you should all have a resume. But the preparation part is being able to speak about what's on this resume. So before you go into the interview, think about in your head how the experiences that you've had taught you certain skills. Recruiters are looking for you to be able to speak about those skills so they know how that's transferable into this job. So think in your head, okay, my work experience taught me this, or my volunteering taught me this. You know how to market yourself in that interview. So for example, let's say you scooped ice cream this past summer at an ice cream shop while you worked with customers, so you had customer service skills. But with that also, you learned problem-solving skills because you dealt with complaints, or you learned teamwork because you worked with others, or collaboration skills. So really think about before the interview how you can market those skills and say how they can transfer to the job you're looking for. The next part of the interview process is researching 10 to 12 questions that a recruiter might ask you. If you're prepared for questions that they ask you, you'll feel confident going into it, and you won't feel blindsided when they ask you a question. It's so important that you do this because the most frequent question that a recruiter will ask you, and it's often the first question that they may ask you, is extremely overwhelming. And this question is, tell me about yourself. What does a recruiter want to know about you that's not already on your resume? Your name's on there, your address, your education, your work experience, volunteer experience, skills, college activities. So what more could they possibly want to know? What recruiters are looking for you to say with this question is something that's not already on your resume. So if you prepared the answer to this going forward into the interview, you won't feel blindsided, you'll be confident, and the recruiter's gonna be really impressed that you actually have the answer to this question. Because many people don't, they just regurgitate what's already on your resume. So maybe some advice with this question is talk about a quality that you have, that you know that separates you from everyone else, or certain professional skills that you've learned in the past that you can bring to this organization. The next part of the interview process, in the preparation stage, is researching about the company that you're interviewing at. If you go into the interview and you do not mention one thing about the company, and you do not mention one thing that's in the news about them, they're going to think you're disinterested, unenthusiastic, and you don't actually want the job. So it's so important that you do research about the company so they know that you actually want to be at that interview. So if you're thinking about some questions and things to research about the company, look at these things. So know the company's CEO or the other C-level execs. Know all of them too. Know where the company's headquarters are. A lot of companies nowadays have multiple locations, but know the headquarters. Know the company's values. In my internship this past summer, I interned at Dun & Bradstreet. When I went to the interview, I knew the company's values like the back of my hand. Inherently generous, relentlessly curious, and data-inspired. And when I went to that interview, I spoke about how those interviews really spoke to my own beliefs that I've set and instilled in myself. And the recruiters were really impressed about that because it's unique and different. And it said that I actually knew something about the company. And know the company's mission statement. That's what really holds the company together and makes them tick. So once you're done researching these questions, or things to know about the company, you're all ready to go into the interview. You're confident, you're prepared for what they might ask you, and you know everything that there is about the company. But before I talk about what to do during the interview, let's talk about how you should dress. Everyone knows it's important to dress to impress during an interview. So for women, wear a business suit or business dress. Make sure it's dark color, or gray. So gray, navy blue, or black. And make sure you wear low heels. And for men, wear a business suit with a tie. Make sure your shoes are looking nice and dark colored socks. So now that you're groomed and looking nice and feeling confident to go to an interview, it's important to get there 10 minutes early. Don't get there any more or any less than 10 minutes. They want you there 10 minutes early. Then once you get there, wait patiently in the room. And when the recruiter finally calls you in, make sure you stand up tall, your posture's looking great, firm handshake, maintain that eye contact, and introduce yourself. And when you're silently sitting down in the table or across from them, make sure both feet are on the floor, your hands are folded in your lap, and you're smiling, and you're being yourself. Now the recruiter will start asking you questions that you would have already prepared for, so you're feeling confident. So questions they may ask you: tell me about yourself, probably the first question. Name one strength and one weakness. This question is actually tricky because when they're asking for your weakness, they're looking for you to turn it into a positive. So for example, my go-to is, if my supervisor asks me to do something or a problem to solve and I don't know the answer, I'll often research it before I give myself enough time. I don't give myself enough credit to think about it. But because of this, I gained valuable research skills and I've learned to look at different perspectives. So you gotta turn that weakness into a positive. They may ask you to walk through your resume to talk about those marketable skills, or why should we hire you, or why do you want to work here. After that part of the interview is closed, they're not going to open it up to you to ask questions. And you may think, okay, that's done, I'm not going to ask any questions, I'm good, I know everything there is to know. This is a make or break situation. You will automatically fail the interview if you do not ask any questions. The recruiter knows that you do not know everything there is to know about them. So you have to ask questions. So some questions that you might ask could be, can you tell me a little bit more about the firm's culture from the insider point of view? Or if you're interning this summer, what does success look like for an intern? Or what new skills can I hope to gain here? My favorite that's actually not on the screen is, how will the work I'd be doing this summer contribute to the organization's mission? It's really important that you make these questions thought-provoking and it makes it sound like you're interested. If you ask boring questions that you could have already researched, they're going to know that you could have looked that up and you don't know them. So now, the interview has come to a close. You thank them for their time, look them in the eyes, good posture, smile, and you're on your way. And you think at this point, you're completely done. You can wait to see if you got that job offer in the next couple of weeks and you don't have to do anything. That is not the case. Once again, this is the make or break situation. So when you come home, you have to follow up with them. And how you follow up with them is a thank you note. So you should write this thank you note either a couple hours or 24 hours after the interview. And if you're wondering how this thank you note should sound, say, dear whomever, thank you so much for taking the time with me today. And then somehow get in there how you're impressed with the firm's culture or reputation. Say something that you enjoyed speaking with them, and then somehow say that you believe that you're a strong candidate for the position, you have the right skills, and you would be fortunate enough to receive an offer. Thank them again for their time, and you can sign off your name. It's really important to know that most recruiters will not get back to you after you send that thank you note, so don't think that you automatically failed the interview. You did not, well, you may, I don't know, but don't think that you automatically did not do well and you won't get the job. Wait 2 to 3 weeks, and then you can reach back out to them and ask for the timeline. Say, dear, hello, I was wondering what the timeline of this process. Can you please let me know what the next steps are? But one thing I really want to stress to you guys is there was a study done that 75% of people interviewed said they did not hear back from the recruiter, and the main reason was because they did not write that thank you note. So it's extremely important to write that thank you note. So in conclusion, today I talked to you guys about how to make a great first and last impression in an interview by following 3 steps: how to prepare, what to do during the interview, and how to make a lasting impression by writing that thank you note. One thing I want to really stress is it's so important to be yourself during an interview. If you pretend to be someone you're not, you're fake, the recruiter's gonna see right through that, and they're not gonna know that that's not you. They're also gonna probably like the real you rather than the person you're trying not to be. So don't forget to smile. And the thing I learn in class all the time is it's an interview. So brag about yourself. Like, be proud of your accomplishments. Market all the skills that you've had. If you leave one skill out, that could be the skill they're looking for. I had an interview with PNC this beginning of the school year, and sometimes I talk about this skill that I have, but I don't always. But I made sure I let them know that I was a trustful person, that they could trust me. And at the end of the interview, he was like, I'm so happy that you talked about how you're a trustful person, because that's my #1 quality that I look for in a candidate. And if I did not speak about that, maybe he wouldn't connect with me, or maybe he wouldn't have offered me the position. So just want to let you know that make sure you market yourself, you send that thank you note, and you be yourself, because then you'll